and we study on European club spending and on transfers. We'll also be discussing the performance of Fenway Sports Group as owners and asking whether fans should be happy with the way the club is being run. Get involved in the show by following us on Speaker. It's free and easy to sign up. Follow us on social media at facebook.com/Talk LFC podcast and twitter.com/Talk LFC podcast. Send us your questions or comments by emailing the show on talklfcpodcast@gmail.com. And you can also ask questions live in the chat if you've signed up via Spreaker. Also, if you'd like to advertise during the show, send us an email to talklfcpodcast@gmail.com and we'll send you a press pack. But on with this evening's show, and the first thing we're going to be talking about is the Chelsea result, which I have to say this has been an absolutely fantastic weekend, Sean.
Yeah, I'm absolutely thrilled with the result. And then obviously United dropping 3 points today. It's been a good weekend.
It definitely has. What did you make of the game itself the other night?
I thought we played extremely well. I don't think they had really anything to give us. I think Diego Costa was kept quiet for most of the game, apart from that little tap in, which again was, a mistake on our part. But I think we handled them very well. I don't think they had an answer for us at all.
Not really, no. And I have to say, for the first, just in terms of Diego Costa there, he was pretty much absent for most of the game. He popped up for the goal, and like the goal really was, it was a lapse in concentration. I think it was probably the only time in the entire game that the defense kind of wasn't up to the task, if you know what I mean. And actually, just in terms of Mignolet, I thought his position was very, very poor. And he just fell down. It looked like he was a puppet on strings that just had the strings cut, because he just collapsed where he was,
That's kind of the story though for Mignolet. And it's something that I've kind of touched on a couple of times. He's not the greatest keeper. I mean, he can kind of save us a couple of times and then make a horrendous mistake, and that'll cost us the game. It only takes one
That's
mistake.
All. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Just in terms of the team selection, were you surprised with anything? I know there was a late announcement that Firmino had a groin strain, but I don't think there was really any other surprises in the lineup as such.
No, I think it was something that I was expecting. Sturridge up front.
Yeah.
Obviously Coutinho and Mane. Mane's had a fantastic month. Obviously there's Raheem hasn't really kind of. He hasn't really hit the ground running, to be honest with you.
Well, I was kind of watching him closely the other night as well, and just to see what he does, and he has a massive work rate in midfield. Like he has a couple of assists at this point, but he's great at breaking up play, and he's great at threading passes through. So while it looks like he's anonymous enough in the game, he's doing a huge amount of work in the background, closing down, and that was one of the things I find about him. I think, to be honest with you, he didn't do much wrong the other night, I find. And yet again, Lallana was absolutely phenomenal as well.
Yeah, and I think, if you look at Henderson was very, very vocal. I felt that he played very well as well. And I mean, he's not playing in the position you'd like to play, but I still think he gave a good count of himself,
Yeah, I think he was seriously pumped for that match the other night, because even people were saying that while he was in the tunnel before the match, he was like he was high,
Yeah, he was focused.
And I think he was probably expecting more of a fight from Costa. Going by the last time we played them, do you remember he squared up to Costa and Costa back down?
One of my favourite clips ever.
Absolutely.
If I could do that to that elephant man, I certainly would. He's the oldest looking 20-something-year-old I've ever come across in my life.
Isn't he?
I mean, he's aging like a really bad curry. He
Like,
really is.
if you met him on the street, you'd think this guy has the hair dyed to the roots. You
Oh,
know?
absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because he does.
He's
He looks like an old man, or
yeah,
excuse me. But it's just in terms of the subs lineup. I was kind of excuse me. I was kind of disappointed that Karius didn't start the game, but I wasn't surprised. I think he's probably a game away yet from starting. But in terms of the sub bench, you had Karius, you had Lucas, you had Stewart, which is great to see Stewart getting onto the bench.
yeah.
He's still persistent with Moreno, but I think he only has him there really as a backup just in case, because he really is our only actual left back.
That
Um,
that kid's confidence must be shot. I mean, to have your first choice left back as Milner,
yeah,
and you not getting a look in, that says it all, really.
yeah. Well, Jamie Carragher has commented on that, and he has made a couple of statements. That's something I was going to touch on later on.
Yeah,
And then Ajario, I'm really excited by that kid, by what I've seen in pre-season. I thought he was very, very good. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of him, and as well as Gruich. I was disappointed that he didn't get a game. I kind of posted on the Talk LFC page during the game that I kind of would have liked to have seen him get in the last 20 minutes.
mm.
Just to see what he could do. But just going on to the goals now. I thought that Lovren took his goal very, very well.
Yeah. I mean, obviously there was bit of a hullabaloo over Tyler's commentary on it, but they were thinking that that it was offside. But I thought he took it very well.
Yeah, no,
Very,
he
very well.
definitely did, and that's one thing I like about him. Actually, Lovren is composed in front of goal. He's not like a lot of defenders that tend to get nosebleeds when they're that far up the pitch.
Yeah.
And that's a couple of goals he scored. Like he scored on his debut with a header, a bullet of a header. So like he knows where the goal is, and that's a good thing to have as a defender. And something else I noticed as well was Matip was up, also fighting for balls up around their 6 yard box. You know.
He's going to cause, any defense, a lot of trouble. The size of him, he's going to be very good with the fact that he's the size he is.
Yeah.
Going up for corners, he's going to cause a world of trouble for them.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, just for Henderson's goal, like when I saw that goal going in, it came out of the blue. I was expecting the ball to be played back across the front of the box and then worked in again. But when he took it down and unleashed that monster of a hit, I nearly hit the roof when I watched it. It was definitely the goal of the season so far, as I'm concerned.
She was a thing of beauty.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
That just did it for me. That was just one of those. Oh, wait a minute! Did that just happen?
Yeah,
that
exactly,
was just
yeah.
incredible. And dare I say it, that was a Stevie G.
It was, without a shadow of a doubt. And even Stevie G was on Instagram. He posted a photograph of his feet up and the television. And I can't remember exactly what he said, but he said, "Well done, well, some good hit," something like that,
Well, no, it was a fab goal, and I don't think even the Chelsea's keeper hadn't a chance of saving it.
Yeah, all 6'5" of him, and he still couldn't get to it. But he's done that before, Henderson, and he's done it for England as well. So he is capable of those shots. It's a pity he wasn't more consistent. Like he had a shot from outside the box last week as well against Leicester, where he ballooned it over the bar. But I was delighted to see that one come off this time. That's when you want it,
Yeah.
The Sturridge's replacement as well. How did you feel about that? Like that was only 57 minutes into the game. Did you think it was
I think that's Klopp. I think Klopp's message is coming across very well. I think what he wants is fast tempo football,
exactly
heavy mental football as he calls it, and I think his attitude is if you can't keep the tempo high for the 90 minutes, you're getting taken off.
Yeah,
and I think that was a perfect example of it. Even with Coutinho, I thought that was a perfect example of it.
Yeah. Well, I think he was, as you said, it was a tactical substitution. It was
Yeah.
more so that and I think Klopp was on the record afterwards as saying that he wasn't able to sprint. So it had a lot of fans worried because, when you see Sturridge coming off after 57 minutes, Klopp is usually, he doesn't kind of start the substitutes until around the 70th minute, is what I noticed with him. And he tends to only make 2 substitutions. He doesn't always make the full 3.
Yeah.
But what I noticed about him was he was starting to slow down a bit. You could see he didn't have the pace to get up, and I just think he's just not up to to full fitness yet. And I think it was a good move as well in the fact that Origi can kind of muscle defenders off a ball, and I think he has more of a physical presence. And I think he definitely made a difference when he came on.
Yeah, I think, Origi is Klopp's player. There's a bit of a bromance going on there, I think.
I think so, yeah. And the fact Coutinho being replaced by Lucas was not, well, I won't say a surprise, because I think at that stage it was a case of trying to control the game. But Coutinho's reaction to being substituted, how did you feel? He shook his head as he was being taken off.
Well, they can shake their heads whatever way they like. It doesn't really matter to me. I mean, maybe that shows commitment, and it shows that maybe he feels he didn't have a great game.
Yeah.
Or maybe he wanted to get on the score sheet. Maybe he felt that, he could still contribute to the game. I don't like, at the end of the day, it's Klopp's decision, and they've got to accept that.
Yeah.
I'd be more inclined to kind of look at Sturridge's, how he responded. He went straight to the tunnel, as far as I can remember.
Yeah. Well, I say he was run out of it, because he did run. He run all over the field that night. He was constantly on the move. So I'd say he was just worn out. No, he did come back and sit on the bench. But in terms of, you said there, like Coutinho when he was replaced, that's what I like to see as well, as a bit of passion. To be disappointed about being taken off, that's what you want. I'd say it was more that he wanted to continue to play a part in the game, because he probably felt he was having a good game, and he was, because he was causing problems. And then Wijnaldum, of course, it was one of the few times that the Klopp actually made a third substitution. He took Wijnaldum off as well, and I think that was again to try and contain what we had and to try and hold on to the lead. Kevin Stewart being kind of a defensive replacement.
Yeah, I think, obviously with the second half, we kind of allowed them a little more into the game. Where the first half we were a lot stronger, but I think, they didn't really. I think, the decisions that Klopp made with the substitutions were bang on.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree with you there, and I have to say, even they didn't affect the overall balance of the team either. The performance certainly didn't drop when the substitutions were made, and if anything, it kind of shored up the defence.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree with that totally. I mean, I think the overall performance from the team and the subs that came on, was certainly something that we want to see on a consistent basis, because we've always had a problem with consistency. And I think, a performance like that, okay, we're not going to get carried away, because, as the old saying goes, we can compete with the big teams, but then we drop points then to the weaker teams. But I think overall we did very well in that game.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping we've turned the corner on that, and hopefully we'll find out on Tuesday night when we face Derby. But as you just touched on there, the overall team performance, I think everybody in my book gets a 9 out of 10. Because I thought everybody was fantastic, and the defensive performance, apart from that one little blip we had where we conceded, I thought the defence performed, admirably throughout. I think Matip and Lovren are going to be our first choice centre backs going forward.
Yeah, I think Matip is certainly a bargain buy. I think he was very, very good. If I was to judge the team performance like a cereal, I would say it's like Tony the Tiger from Kellogg's Frosties. It was great. So I think I was delighted with it. I was absolutely thrilled, and it's against Chelsea. I mean, I was just over the moon, with it.
And
Absolutely.
it's nice. One of the things that I kind of said to some of the people I've been talking about the game is it's nice to have the butterflies in the stomach again, and it's nice to be there to
Yeah,
be challenging, you know.
absolutely.
And like the fact that we've taken 10 points from a possible 12 from London teams, hence the title of the show. I think that's exceptional, and the fact that we've taken 7 of those points in the capital.
Absolutely. And I mean, who would have thought that we would have dropped points to Burnley, which is an extra kick in the teeth for us. But, I think we were kind of thinking, well, Chelsea were going to come back, with Conte. And the Arsenal, Arsenal are always the underdogs, and they're, Arsenal fans are always complaining, the start of the season with, very little signings, and then, Arsene Wenger somehow pulls it out of the hat,
Yeah,
and they do relatively well. But to look at the opening games that we've had, and the fact that most of them have been away, obviously with Anfield been worked on, I think it was I think that was it's not a bad old start at all. It's very, very hopeful.
exactly. Now, what I was saying, what I took particular note of during the game was how flat Chelsea were in the beginning.
Mm.
I thought they didn't seem to offer much going forward. But one thing that stood out for me for the game, and it's one thing that I'll remember throughout the whole, was the fact that the Liverpool fans were the louder of the two sets of fans pretty much throughout the whole game.
Well, that's why we call them plastic rent boys. They only sing when they're winning. They'll be back supporting Man City now next week.
Probably.
At the end of the day, Chelsea fans, have a habit of forgetting about their little slip and start singing about Stevie G's slip. And, there's been quite a lot of slips. Let's look at last year. That was a bit of a slip in performance. Let's look at John Terry's slip there that handed United the Champions League.
That's right.
So, I mean, I was delighted. It's great to hear the fans, the away fans, out-sing the home fans. It really just says it all about Liverpool fans in general.
Yeah. And the only thing they could sing about was the Steven Gerrard slip.
Well, that's what happens when you don't have any history. When you have a revolving door of managers and a bottomless pit of money, I mean, what else are you going to sing about?
Yeah.
Jason Cundy, I somehow doubt it.
Yeah, it just proves it when that's the type of legend they have. Like the legends they have are still playing,
Yeah.
But that was one of the things. Just going back to Chelsea, was the stamp that Ivanovic did on Lallana. I thought it was absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, I'd say Lallana will probably be the one that gets fined for putting out his foot, knowing the FA. They always find some way of punishing us. But I think, it's look, there's a lot of that going on at Chelsea. There's him and then there's Costa. And I think, they need to have... I would be in favour, John, of, video refereeing.
Yeah, definitely. But I think the Premier League is going to implement it. I'd say fairly soon. Anyways, there was talk about it next year. So I'd say it's probably not too far away. But the one thing that I like that they've done is they've brought in the retrospective punishment that they can. They did it to what's his name, City, Aguero.
Yeah.
He got the 2-match ban. So I'm hoping that Ivanovic will get the similar. He got a 2-match ban as well. Because God knows he bloody deserves it. If you look on our Facebook page, it's Talk LFC podcast. So facebook.com/Talk LFC podcast. I posted the video replay of the stamp. And there's actually 2 stamps. He does stamp on him the first time. And Lallana goes down and actually pulls his foot out to show the referee that he stood on his foot. And Ivanovic does it again. And if you watch the step, he actually does a half step.
Yeah.
To make sure that he lands on his foot.
Oh, he knew exactly what he was doing. He
did,
knew
of course,
exactly
yeah.
what he was doing. Just want to
Um,
give a couple of people a shout out because I see a load of comments here. Let me just go through it. Clint Winder, Andy Burgess, Martin Mason, Live Speak Productions. Hello to you. And let me see. And of course, Stephen Freeman. So
Stephen is the man, and Justin is a former podcasting friend of mine. We used to do a podcast together,
oh, really?
called Live Speak Radio. Yeah, we did a technology podcast a couple of years ago.
Oh, very good.
So Justin we used to do a transatlantic podcast. Justin actually lives in Washington, in the US. So
you're very welcome, Justin.
He's a good guy, and he's a Liverpool fan.
Well, now, Justin, I like you already.
Yeah, he's just sent me a message there saying my mic volumes are a little bit low, and that's something I'm going to have to rectify. I thought it was sorted. Anyways, moving along. Just in terms of, I know there's a lot of fans and a lot of commentators, and even they were talking about it during the after-match talk the other night about a possible top four challenge.
Ooh, I don't know, John. I really don't. I mean, I think if we can keep the injuries to a minimum, I think we're definitely in with a shout. I wasn't too confident really to start the start of the season, but I think if we can keep the players fit, I think we're certainly up there. You know.
And actually, one of the things that people are commenting on is that if you look at a comparison between us when we played Sevilla in the Europa League final, we tired after about 60 minutes. We couldn't maintain the pace of the high press. If you're looking at the difference between us now and us back then, we can maintain the high press for the entire 90 minutes. And I think that's going to be key. But we need to be able to maintain that match on match going forward. And also, we're going to be missing is going to the African Cup of Nations. Mane,
yeah.
So we're going to be missing out on him. Plus, you're going to have Coutinho and Firmino now playing for Brazil because Firmino has gotten a call up to the next two Brazil games. So, and while I'm delighted for him, it's great to see him getting international caps. And it's about time he's been recognised by his country. But I think it's another player that you're kind of putting out there risking an injury.
Yeah, that's one thing I don't like about the international break. You're always worried about, especially under Hodgins when he was England manager.
Yeah.
I mean, you would nearly want to bubble wrap Sturridge because he was getting injured every goddamn international break.
Andy Burgess has given me abuse here in the chat.
Yeah, I'm noticing that he's making some Irish jokes there. Andy, calm yourself down, mister.
He wants to know now. He says, John, how long can you last, kid? So I don't know. Really, are you talking? What type of stamina are we discussing here, Andy?
I don't know. I think that's. I think he's after going on to a different podcast. There is a podcast for that, I'm sure. Stephen Freeman says, Matip not going to the African nations?
No, he's not, actually. Himself and his brother, he's on the record as saying he won't be playing in the African Cup of Nations because he wants to concentrate on his Liverpool career. Both himself and his brother have a history of shunning the African Cup of Nations and the international team anyways, in favour of their own careers. They've neglected call after call. Now, the manager has said, it's an open door if they want to take up, if they want to go and play international football, it's up to them. But no, Matip is definitely not going to the African Cup of Nations. He's already said that.
Good.
And to be honest with you, we have such a thin squad as it is that we can't afford to lose anyone.
It's almost thin and as bad as me hair.
Yeah. But and just a little stat for you, actually. I'm not even going to go into that conversation because mine is on, but the tide is going out on the top of my head as well. So, hence the reason for the hats most of the time. But there's a nice little statistic here that it's the best start to a season we've had since 2008. And we actually finished runner-up to United that year. So, that's quite a nice little that'll put a pep in your step for tomorrow.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that well.
Now, what I wanted to talk about next was, and actually, do you know what? Before we do, I have Klopp's interview, and what I'm going to do is the after-match interview is I'm going to play that just so people can hear his comments after the match. So I'm just going to play this.
Grand stuff.
Right now.
Start, the middle, and the finish. So, but of course, we had a few moments where we're not so good, but that's normal. So they're too strong to have them the whole game. Or be organized, like perfectly organized, that they have absolutely no space to play. That's not possible. So for that, they are too strong. But the beginning was brilliant from my side, and we played football like hell. It was really nice to watch, and then we scored the goals in other moments. So quick in mind after set pieces, what we didn't do too often, but it was wonderful. And what can I say? Yeah, and then second half, of course, it's a little bit more difficult with less power. It's getting intense. We invested a lot more in the first half than Chelsea, so Chelsea came then in the second half. That's not too fair, but it's normal. And they scored a goal, and after goal, then we managed it again. It was absolutely okay. Not a lot of chances for them.
Do you think it was reward tonight for having the confidence to play your game, to come here and go at Chelsea in your style?
Yeah. Oh, we never thought about anything else. Of course, it was clear we want to. No, I told the lads before the game, everything can happen. There's absolutely no guarantee for getting a result at Chelsea. But if we lose, in our way. So, but the probability that we get something, if we are really convinced about the kind of play, then it's bigger. But no guarantee. I'm sorry for this, can't do this. But they did really well. And now when you could see them in the dressing room, it's a really early stage in the moment. But 2 weeks ago, everybody was asking what's wrong at Liverpool and all that stuff. Why transfer market, 5 midfield players, 8 left backs, whatever. Where are they? And now these boys starting in the most difficult, I don't know a more difficult fixture for the start in world football. So now we had them, nearly all the Manchester teams, and then we had all the top flight, if you want. And so that's really difficult, but they did well. They deserved the result tonight, and now we fly back on Tuesday, Derby.
Lastly, he has to do a lot of defensive work, but what would you say about the quality of Jordan Henderson's goal tonight?
Yeah. It was nice. It was really nice and good to see him. Well deserved. He's such a hard worker, and he's still a young lad, and with a lot of pressure on his shoulders. And we try everything to help him to learn to handle it. And it's getting better and better and better. And I don't think that he thought before the season that he can be playing a 6. Of course he can. Good footballers can nearly play everything. So and that's the thing tonight. We played without Emre, without Roberto, without a lot of players which are not available in the moment. So, and that's not really injured, but on the way back, and so that's good. And for this, then playing different positions, very important. He did well, and yeah, he'd get the benefit of all the hard work in the last few weeks with a wonderful, wonderful strike. I'm pretty sure it will be difficult to score a nicer one in this month. So we'll see.
Jürgen, thank you.
Thank you very much.
And that was Jurgen Klopp's after-match conference that he gave, or not conference, just a chat he gave to Sky. And one thing that I enjoyed the other night was all the hugs that were given out. He gave out 10 hugs. I don't know, did you see the video? Somebody compiled a video of all the hugs.
I kind of want a hug off Klopp, I really do.
Martin has since joined us. Martin, the legend Mason. He's I heard him opening a can. Would that be an alcoholic beverage at this early hour?
I think he was going for a cigarette and a can.
Yeah, that's me Viagra for later.
Welcome to the podcast, Martin.
Cheers, boys.
How did you enjoy that match the other night?
Well, to be quite honest with you, I only caught the last 30 minutes of it. I put it on record and it failed. I was devastated.
You were working, I presume, yeah?
No, I was at the Chinese.
All right.
I was getting some inside information. She said to me, "You want to see what went wrong?"
Very nice. Yeah, because I was going to say, well, when you said you only seen the last 30 minutes, I was going to say, well, that's married life for you. You know, you have to make compromises.
Yeah, I tell you what, I'm buzzing off this Andy and Steve bitching each other. Steve's a good man.
Stephen is a top man, so he is.
It doesn't matter where you are; he's always there.
Yeah, and Andy is kind of like he's kind of like the Herbert the pervert. He kind of stalks you from afar.
Yeah, I'm going to call him Gollum.
Actually, I have to give a big shout out to Andy Burgess. He's been a huge help in the background in the lead up to this in the week, kind of giving advice and helping out, trying to get this podcast up and running. And I have to say, he's been an inspiration all week. So thanks very much, Andy. You've been giving me lots of abuse too, but that's part for the course, I think, at this stage.
Hey, yeah. John, a bit of information for you. Why didn't you get in touch with Wayne Rooney asking for some of that hair stuff?
Is this directed towards me now or Sean?
Yeah. No, it's you. Sean's got hair. He's just got more face to wash than the rest.
Not
of us.
much.
You need a bit at the back.
Hey, it'll be gone pretty soon. I'm getting out the shaver. It'll be gone.
That's a nice thumbprint.
Solar panel, huh?
Yeah, anyways. You see, I've got like 2 car parks and a solar panel, so
What's in your car park, Sean? A train?
A big fucking high eight.
2 dogs.
Oh, don't get me started with that.
Come on, let's get back on track.
What did you think of the announcement for the Anfield Road development?
Who, me or Sean?
Either.
I think it's good news if it's true.
Well, it is true. Like they've given the outline plan permission now. I know that the club have to come back to them by the end of September and basically sign off on the planning permission to say that they're going to go ahead. Now, as of last week, the club hadn't done it.
See, I know. Well, I know you don't believe anything that Football 360 and 90minute.com say, but I read a while ago that the reason that the Anfield Road weren't going to be done is because apparently the ground behind it, where it was all like boarded up, was historical ground or something and couldn't be built on. But that's a full of shit now, isn't it?
Well, so it seems, because if they've given the outline plan permission, there's obviously, there's some room for wrigglement,
Yeah. I hope it does, because I remember my first time I ever went there, it was to Anfield, was when in the Anfield Road, it was just the lower side, and it had like red, green, yellow, all them coloured seats on it.
Yeah,
it was great.
Well, the details of it at the moment is that it'll be an extra approximately 6,000 seats, which will bring us to just over 60,000. At the moment, we're 54,007. So the extra 6,000 seats, and apparently they're all general admission seats. They're not corporate. So
they will be. They will be corporate. Mate.
I'm sure if this crowd are still around, they'll probably squeeze in a few corporate seats here and there. But and we kind of I discussed this before, but it'll bring us to 60,000 capacity, which kind of brings us in around the same level as Arsenal and Spurs. And that's the threshold, apparently. The 60,000 is the threshold based on the infrastructure, the transport and all of that. We're kind of limited in terms of access. So it's kind of as high as we can go,
Yeah, well, there's no houses behind it, is there? So it's not like we're blocking views.
No, exactly. But I think just in terms of
is trees.
Well, it's access to the ground. You see, I know when Old Trafford was being done, they had to bring a rail line or a tram stop or something close to the station just to improve access to it, because and that's how they were able to go to the level they were. But one of the big talking points that I found since this came out is why have there been no plans to extend the COP? Because the COP is actually going to be completely overshadowed now.
It's going to look like a complete shed.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's going to look. I don't know. I mean, I'd love to see the COP been done up.
Yeah, and especially because it's such a it's world famous. And I think it deserves to be given kind of a bigger stature, if you know what I mean. It shouldn't be dwarfed by the other stands,
Yeah, absolutely. It's as you said, world famous, and and therefore it deserves a little bit of a Jesus Christ, I'm completely speechless now, and that's unusual for me. It needs a makeover, is what I'm trying to say.
It does. And according to Andy Burgess here, they should have rebuilt the ground and given an 80,000 seater, and that would have been the ideal scenario. But I think under our current guide, that was never going to be a possibility,
Yeah, I mean, Stephen Freeman says we need to build a train station if we want to go over 60.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. Well, look, I suppose any further developments, I'm sure that'll be, if we're going to be at the top of our maximum attendance at 60,000, well, then any more developments, they'll have to do something about it. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I just think it's a pity that we can't add kind of a similar amount of seats that we added this time, because I think while we're doing it, it's probably cheaper to do it in one go rather than do it in 2 or 3 different stages,
Yeah.
And I think once we extend it, I don't think there'll be any further possibility to extend that particular stand.
No, I don't think so either. But it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen. As Martin said there briefly, it's hard to know what's going to happen under the current ownership, or if this Chinese consortium take over. If they take over, what's going to happen there.
And actually, that's gone very quiet as well at the moment.
Oh, yeah, mate. Sorry about that.
That's quite all right, Martin.
That's married life
kids.
We kept it going between us.
Yeah, I thought so. I was listening to you. I was going, hello, and then I realised I was off. I saw that.
Andy Burgess says here 20,000 people wait for season tickets. 10 to 15 years before you might get considered. Feckin' joke.
Yeah, it is a feckin' joke.
Yeah, I just thought I'd put in the Irish. He always tries to pull on an Irish accent, Andy, and he sounds
Come on,
like
Sean,
Tom
this is
Cruise.
you, mate. 33 and a third.
33.
In English, mate. In English, that's a 33 and a third.
Here, listen, you needn't bother slagging me. If anyone saw this Skype call and the 2 little icons that are turning up, it looks like a bloody group chat on Grindr.
I was going to say something worse, actually, but anyways.
No, I mean, like there's Martin Mason topless with a fireman hat, and then there's yourself, John, who looks, well, Jesus, that looks interesting.
Yeah, you'd wonder what's going on in the background. You'd wonder is there any clothes on below the shoulders.
Superman.
But actually, there was another topic that come up during the week there, and I kind of mentioned it at the start of the show, was this study that according to CIES Football Observatory, that no club in Europe's top 5 leagues has made more on player sales over the past 6 years than Liverpool. There were 2 people that ran this article, 442.com ran it, and also This Is Anfield ran it.
Yeah.
And that we've made, over that time frame, we've made 374 million since 2010 in transfers out.
Boston Red Sox have spent 350 million on 2 players.
Exactly. So you'd wonder. But Valencia were second. Valencia were second with 366 million. Juventus were third with 352 million. Spurs, even including the sale of Gareth Bale, they only made 313 million. While Chelsea brought in 303, Southampton 227, of which we probably gave them 220 of that.
Yeah, exactly.
And Man City with only 209 million.
Well, I mean, that really kind of shuts up people like James Pearce from the Liverpool Echo that was commenting on after the Liverpool Chelsea game, saying
he's on the payroll now. I've got 20 years now.
We can't say that, but what I will say is that he was saying this will shut up the net spend boys.
Yeah,
I was fuming that.
I was very disappointed with that remark. That was very. He was very provocative in terms of, he was trying to provoke a reaction, and he got the reaction because if you see the comments that came through on Twitter, it's stuff that divides fans, and the man should know better. He's supposed to be. I know he's a Liverpool fan and all this and the whole lot, but
He's
he
not a
needs to.
Liverpool fan.
Is he not? I thought he was.
Yeah, well, no, he can't be a Liverpool fan if he's speaking about his club like that. He's got to be more of a mank.
Right. Well, even if he isn't, he should be impartial. If he's reporting on a particular piece of information, he should remain relatively impartial and not be as contentious as that. I think that was wrong.
He used to be able to believe what he said many years ago.
Really?
He used to be. I thought he could. Yeah, but now he's just a total. Well, he's a gobshite in my eyes now.
Yeah. You see, I wouldn't. When you were speaking years ago, like it's really only since kind of the Liverpool Echo went online that kind of us out of towners would have had a chance to see what was being said. Short of if you were watching something on television and you heard a comment that was said or something where they might highlight it in the papers, yeah, I thought it was very disappointing, to be honest with you.
Where's Mr. Cooney anyway?
Mr. Cooney had telephone issues this evening. David Cooney was going to join us this evening.
I reckon you give Andy a ring, tell him to get his backside on here, because I can see these comments he's putting up here, and he needs to get his arse on here now.
Andy will be coming on. Andy is the founder of Red Road to Anfield, and we're hoping to have Andy on in the next couple of weeks.
Andy, unblock me on there, mate.
And we're also hoping that we can have other guests on as well. We're going to send out invitations to Spirit of Shankly, the Anfield Rap. We're also going to send out an invitation to Paul Cantwell. He's a well-known sports journalist. Chris Malloy, absolutely. I would love to have Chris Malloy on.
Yeah, I'd like to have him on as well.
He's a good guy, Chris.
He's a character. I like Chris. He's got a lot of passion for the club, So it'd be good to have, a kind of a podcast with all these characters,
Yeah, most definitely. But anyways, we are diversing here. We're getting off track a little bit. But just to is anybody really surprised by that figure and the fact that we're the biggest sellers pretty much in Europe at this stage?
We're a selling team. That's what I was saying the other day. We'll only buy big players, sell them when we get in the Champions League. We'll give them bigger wages. We get there, and you'll bloody sell them on.
Yeah, exactly. And just in terms of fees paid, just since 2010, Man City topped the league table with 867 million. But for that money, they have 2 league titles. They won it in 11-12 and in 13-14. Chelsea are second in the Premier League. They've spent 737 million, but yet again they've won 2 titles in 9-10 and 14-15.
I'd like to know what the agents' fees are, what Liverpool pay all the agents, just to see what combination that is.
I'm sure they're massive. I'm sure they're absolutely massive. Like I'm sure they probably wouldn't even include signing on fees and stuff like that too. Like I know we got Joel Matip on a free, but he came in with a pretty hefty signing on fee as well. So that's probably not being considered in. Like even Man United have spent just short of what Chelsea have spent. They've spent 712 million, and they've had 2 titles also in 10-11 and 12-13. Liverpool, we've spent 561 million, and we have 1 second place to show for it in 13-14.
Well, I mean, John, it really goes back to what I've been saying all along since 2012. We are a selling club. Those who want to debunk the whole net spend theory are basically debunking it on the basis that it shows the club and it shows in its true colours. We are a selling club. We are a stepping. We used to make legends. We now are a stepping stone for people for players to go to better things. I mean, Look at Luis Suarez, for God's sake.
Yeah.
I was devastated when he went. I named.
So was I.
But I named my lad after him.
Did you?
Yeah.
You did not.
Oh,
did you?
I did. He hasn't got his buck teeth but not far from. Yeah, she wanted Jack. I wanted Louis. She went, all right, then we go for Louis Jack. I thought, right, okay.
Yeah, that's a nice name. I was one of these ones that stopped getting names on my jersey for years. The only one that I had was Steven Gerrard, and I had a Jamie Carragher one. And I decided...
Sorry, go on.
Go ahead, Martin.
I bought last season's kit, and not last season's, the season Lallana came, I had his name on the back and forth. You know, he's going to be a cracker fella.
Yeah.
Didn't wear it much. I've got it back on now.
Yeah. Yeah, he's
At the
definitely
moment,
come
I
good.
think he's our star man, but just behind Mane, whatever you call him.
Without a shadow of a doubt. And Luis Suarez was the last name. I stopped getting names on shirts, and I actually got Luis Suarez's name on the back of 2 shirts. And I was extremely disappointed when he moved. But I suppose it was inevitable. He was going to go.
I don't think he stopped getting the shirts, mate. I think it was them donuts, weren't it?
No, do you know what it was? When they started making these bloody skin tight shirts, that's the problem.
Yeah. Jesus Christ! You want to see me? I nearly need to wear a bloody sports bra with those on.
Hey Sean, I want to ask you a question.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Go on.
I commented a while ago and you didn't reply. Why the hell do you wear an LA Galaxy shirt? If you're a red, you should only wear a red shirt.
That's a Stevie G jersey.
Makes no difference to me, mate. If you're a red, you're a red. It's like me putting a Barcelona top on, mate. I only have one top, one chest on one part of my body has a chest, and that is my bed. No fucking LA Galaxy or Real Madrid shit.
So, in other words, you wear a Liverpool jersey or nothing, which is evident by your thumbnail.
I won't even wear the England top.
Really?
Yeah, in my eyes, I'm not English, mate. I'm Scouse.
Well, you called me out there, Martin. Thank you. You called me out there. No, I bought that because as John was saying, all the Liverpool jerseys that I've bought have had Gerrard on it, and I actually felt sad the fact that I couldn't buy another Liverpool jersey with Gerrard on it because obviously he wasn't going to be there. So I bought an LA Galaxy one.
Yeah.
That was it. I don't go supporting LA Galaxy, but I guess it's just.
What is Andy on about here?
What's Andy saying?
Martin wears bras.
Bras. Andy, you got a bra for your chin, mate, lad. A car.
And he reckons you put an LFC logo on them.
Yeah.
You know, and actually, Andy is making a good point here. He said he'd be more interested in what FSG have drained from the LFC bank account and left us to 5th or 6th in place, 5th position side. That's the real issue. And he does have a good point there. You know,
very good point. Yeah,
because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what comes into Liverpool. It's all FSGs. It's not ours. It's theirs, and they can do what they want with it. But it's just there's still a shower of shite.
Yeah. And the article as well, there was an article done, now it was I think it was last week at this stage, and I kind of mentioned his name earlier on. Paul Cantwell was the author of the article on the Anfield Wrap, and I'm hoping that we'll be able to get Paul onto the show some evening. He basically wrote an article entitled Liverpool, is it time to ask questions about our owner's ambitions? And this appeared, I think, was it the week before last on the Anfield
It was the
Wrap.
5th of September.
Was it?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Sean, big yourself up on that one, mate.
Yeah, he's a Dublin guy, and he's a guest writer for the Anfield Wrap, and apparently the Anfield Wrap have about 50 guest writers or something like that. But I mean, it was, to be honest with you, it was a fantastic article, especially after the transfer deadline day. You know, he made a very good point here. Just read out some of it. Players signed on freebies or for pittance. Problem positions not addressed. Doing business almost exclusively with mid-table or relegated clubs. Turning a profit into the transfer window. Ah, yes, the dying embers of the Gillette and Hicks regime. We remember it well. Still, how times have changed. Hey. Well, they have, haven't they? So he goes on about. You know, I suppose holding the owners accountable. There's a lot of kind of, as I call them, FSG sympathisers that feel that because FSG saved us, that they're immune from criticism. And
we'd only finished one place lower if we had went into administration. But there again, we'd never have got there anyway. So
Yeah.
Well, it's neither here nor there. That's what they're waffling about, and this is where I suppose your man James Pearce from LFC Echo are having a wise pop at those who believe that the owner's ambitions need to be questioned.
See, I'm sick of everyone going on about our past and history. Yeah, we've got a big history, mate, but let's start looking at the future now and start building a future. It's there's only so many times we can say five times. It's like, come on, let's leave it there now. We need to get these out and we need to get our future built.
Yeah. Nottingham Forest have a history. Leeds have a history. Where are they now?
And
Villa that's where we'll end up.
Yeah. We're going to be like Leeds.
Probably, yeah.
You see, here's the thing, guys. I mean, as I said to you at the start of the season, United are one cup away from equaling our record as the most decorated club in England. So, they could win. Well, maybe not on today's performance after Watford beating the crap out of them.
How long is it going to be before they start calling for the special one's head gone, eh? Is he going to be called the headless one?
Yeah, I saw a very funny picture today, actually, just in relation to the match. And Pogba, somebody did up a poster, and they used Finding Nemo one, Finding Nemo or Finding Dory, and it was Finding Pogba.
Finding Pogba with 89 million.
Yeah.
We did a post the other week about all our players, and then Pogba. Oh my God, 2 assists and 2 goals, and 2 assists and 2 goals, and 8 assists and no goals.
Yeah.
Or 7 it was.
Yeah. But,
Andy Burgess has just declared his undying love for us.
Has he?
Yeah. I think Sean, do you know what Barnet means?
Do I know what?
Barnet means where I just put to him, Andy, you're off your Barnet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're off your head. Is that what that means?
That's why he's telling me he loves me. It's like, this is our bromance.
And Stephen Freeman isn't pulling any punches in the chat here. He says, once again, James Pearce is a wanker.
I'm just looking for this. Stephen looked like he needs a samurai in that other hand. That's a quality picture.
Yeah. No, just one of the things that I wanted to say about that article is that article makes a good impartial view of Liverpool Football Club, and there's some very, very valid points raised in it. It is on the Facebook page. It's on the Talk LFC Facebook page. The link it should be near the top of the page. I'll post it again afterwards. But one of the things that it's kind of what happened shortly after this was when the new stand was opened, and it's fantastic. I'm hoping to be over there next year. But it was the comments made by, forget his name.
James Pearce?
No, the other person in FSG, Mike Gordon. You would think I would have that written in my notes here, wouldn't you? But this wasn't something that I planned on mentioning. It's just after popping into my head. But he came out and said, when he was asked about the extra revenue that the stand would generate in terms of the 25 million a year potentially that it has to generate in funds, he was asked whether or not that was going to be spent on the pitch, and he basically poo-pooed that. He was making excuses for not spending it.
I love the fact that the players wouldn't go out and train on the field until they put the "This is Anfield" sign up. Now that is respect to all them players. I don't care how good or shit they are. If them players wouldn't go out there, mate, that is quality.
Yeah, and I think actually somebody put a photograph up as well of that "This is Anfield" sign. It looked crooked. I don't know whether it was or whether it was just the angle it was taken from. But yeah, the nets was another thing that kind of went under the radar, where they changed from the red to the white, and that was Klopp apparently that requested that. Because he said when they were training... Huh?
I thought he wanted the white ones back.
He wanted the white ones back because he said that the red ones were tending to blend in with the crowd behind in the players' peripheral vision. So it didn't give them the same view. Do you know, they didn't know where the goal was. That's basically what he was trying to say. Not that I think that made any difference. But
Sean, he's freaking ripping you here, mate. The only thing that pops into an Irishman's head is a fly called Space Invader.
Yeah, that's fine. We can all return the favour when Andy comes on the podcast.
Yeah.
Sean, you can be in the chat or even him as well. Actually, do you know what? You can come on again and you can basically rib him in person. Live.
Live.
And I'm sure it says on his post that he lives in Telford. To me, isn't that Manchester?
Andy?
Oh, I don't know.
Andy, you better answer that one, mate.
The question asked here, you're from Telford, is that the case?
Must be like my missus.
He's gone quiet.
Yeah, I'm going pulling out a smiley face.
But anyways, moving along, what I wanted to discuss next was Alberto Moreno and his future at Liverpool Football Club. Jamie Carragher came out the other night and he told TalkSport that he believed Alberto Moreno's days were numbered at Liverpool. And he said that Jurgen Klopp's decision to pick James Milner at left back ahead of Moreno shows that the Spaniard is on borrowed time. Would you agree with that statement?
Absolutely. The only position he should play is left back in the dressing room or left back in Sevilla. The guy, you know...
Take it easy there, Sean, won't you?
Look, listen, I don't pack me punches, mate. I mean, I just go all in, you know. But, I mean, come on. James Milner as our first choice left back. That kind of says it all, really.
Yeah, it does. And just what I'll do is I'll read the comments that he actually made. What he said was he obviously rates James Milner higher than Moreno. If you're a left back and the manager is playing a right midfielder ahead of you, it probably tells you it's time that your time is up at the club. So I would imagine. I see that. I just spotted that in the corner of my eye. But he said, so I would imagine in January or at the end of the season, a left back will come in. Milner would become backup, and it wouldn't be too bad then. I must say he's done very well, but at this stage of his career, it's not easy. But I don't think it could last for a full season. And I'm sure Klopp and his team are scouting for a left back because you can see he has no time for Moreno. Now, that's not the first time that Carragher has been critical of Moreno. He got onto him after the Capital One Cup final defeat to Man City and the Europa League final defeat to Sevilla. That we needed a new left back. He's been on the record pretty much consistently to say that he's not a fan, you know.
Which goes back to the article that Paul Cantwell did in the Anfield Wrap. I mean, this is a problem position that hasn't been addressed, and I think Carragher, with the experience that he has, I mean, he knows a bad defender when he sees one. God Almighty, he's sitting beside Gary Neville all day, so I mean, obviously he knows he was bad too. But cheap pop. So I think Moreno. Look. The only kind of skill I've kind of seen out of him is his hairstyles, and that's it.
Yeah, his hairstyle has changed now. He's cut off the bun.
Oh,
it's gone, or the top knot, I should say, not the bun. And he's now done a messy.
Did you see the three letter tweet off Neville over United? Poor all day. Didn't got some bad reaction. Poor all day. He got some bitching.
But he's right. Do you know, and that's one of the things. I never liked Gary Neville as a player. I thought he was I hated him when he played, as did most
Liverpool fans. Great as a pundit, though.
But as a pundit, I have to say, his impartiality is brilliant, and his knowledge of the game is very good. You know,
he's not like that Jason Cundy fella from TalkSport who bitches and whines about Chelsea.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely, I agree with you there.
That's the one who wins the Carragher winner, or was that game?
Yeah.
Tell you what, he's a little prick. I swear to God. They spelt his name wrong. It should be Cunty.
Well, that's a couple of pops he's had now and a couple of smart remarks he's had. And Jamie Carragher actually rang in to take issue with him on it.
Destroyed.
Wasn't that the same guy after one of the games? He slagged Carragher off for playing for England. Was that the same fella? And Carragher rang him up and talked to us.
He did. He questioned him on his decision to retire from England.
That's
a good one.
I don't think.
They have a long-going feud, anyways. Going on.
Yeah, they did, didn't they? Yeah.
You know. But yeah, I think just to kind of finish off on that point there, I think that Moreno's days are numbered. I can see him getting a game on Tuesday night against Derby in the EFL Cup. But outside of that, I can't see him getting any starts in the Premier League unless there's an injury or something. And I am liking the sounds of some of the transfer rumours that are coming out already about
John
left backs.
No, let's ignore the rumours at the moment, mate.
Oh no, absolutely, I agree with you. But what I was going to say on that was that, you know, if it is, and if any of these rumours can be believed, it means that they are working on it. And I think Carragher has mentioned it as well, that, you know, they are scouting for a left back.
Yeah, you just wait till 90 minutes, get on touch with it. It'll be Suarez and left back soon for us. Actually, it'd still be our top scorer.
Yeah. We might as well talk about another contentious player while we're talking. El Hadj Diouf was on the record, and he got involved with the Balotelli transfer, and he mentioned what he said was that Steven Gerrard never had the talent of Balotelli, and that he blames Gerrard for Balotelli's failure at LFC. You know, I don't know where he pulled this one out of, but
should have blamed himself for his own failure.
Listen, he's pulling it out the same place he was that he came from. He's a sore rat. Let me just get on top of this one like a hot snot, because I hate this guy with a passion.
Yeah.
El Hadj Doofus, I call him. He is an absolute. I swear to God, of all the players, past and present, that we've had, he's one player that no Liverpool fan ever wants to acknowledge as a Liverpool number 9. He's absolutely like. You know, there are those who have kids, you know, and those whose kids, you know, watch football and whatever. You always want them to kind of look up to something and look up to a professional player. You wouldn't want them looking up to El Hadj Doofus. The guy is an absolute sore rat and a sore mouth on him, and is a bitter motherfucker. And
Jesus, Sean.
No.
You've hit a nerve here with Stephen too, because Stephen says "fuck you" and move on. He's not worth talking about, and he's probably right. But the thing is, he's waded into an argument, and he's kind of involved himself in the situation. But when Diouf was at Liverpool, his attitude was absolutely disgraceful. You know, when we lost that cup final, apparently he rocked up to Melwood the next day with the music blaring and danced out of the Jeep, and it didn't go down well with players at all. And as well as the fact that he was spitting on Liverpool fans as well when he was playing in Scotland, you know, so he's a bit of a tramp.
I mean, he is, and I mean, look, how dare he speak of such legends like I wasn't going to say Balotelli, but like Gerrard and Carragher. Like he couldn't hold a candle up to them. Couldn't hold a candle up to them. He's accomplished sweet fuck all in his career, and he's hated by everybody.
Yeah, really he had issues. He had issues at every club he went to, and just Sean, you just sound like you're just about to say, "You leave Steven Gerrard alone."
Yeah,
I'd have rather let the sea lady on there, mate.
But what he's claimed now is he's claimed that he warned Balotelli against joining Liverpool. What he said was, this is the quote, he said, "I told him not to go to Liverpool. It wasn't made for him. That things couldn't go well with Gerrard, who has never had his talent," and then said negative things about him. "Gerrard is a jealous man who doesn't like men of character. Mario's a good person that you should listen to. He's not a guy who's going to cause a problem in the dressing room." Well, I don't know where the hell he's been for the last 10 years.
I just see it popping up lately. You know, everyone slags him off, but if it's true, then you've got to give him a bit of respect with Balotelli. If he sends 50% of his wages over to poor children and stuff, you know, if that's true, like, got to give him.
The man was earning huge money. He could still afford to give half his wages and still live quite comfortably as well, you know. But look, if he's doing that, fair.
That doesn't really lie with me. You know, these footballers are on a ferocious amount of money, and I mean, at the end of the day, I could donate 3/4 of my money to charity and be shit at my job and have a really bad attitude. Does that make me a better person, or does that make me better at my job, or does that make me a professional? Absolutely not.
Well, Andy reckons you could cause trouble in the dressing room.
You're damn straight.
Sean had caused a problem in the dressing room on his own.
Absolutely. I've had many away with myself.
But what he also said is, he said there's a lot of things that have been made up about Balotelli. People tell tales about him, but they're often a load of rubbish. He was young when he arrived in England. You mustn't forget that. When he had problems at City, when he wasn't playing, we talked. I told him that if his form would come back, of course it was hard for him because he's very sensitive. People perhaps don't understand that. I'm sorry, but I don't agree with it. I'm not discussing Juve now, but Balotelli is the biggest waste of talent that I think ever appeared in the Premier League. You know, and Juve and Gerrard have been engaged in a war of words since Stevie criticised him in his autobiography. So there is a bit of history there between the two of them.
Well, all you can do is criticise El Hadj Doofus. I mean, what exactly has he fucking done? I mean, let's look at it this way, guys. Of all the players that maybe should be a little bit bitter, and maybe a player that didn't get enough time to do much was Robbie Keane.
Yeah.
And Robbie Keane has been always very, very graceful. Always has been a very well respected professional, both at club level and international level. He's an absolute legend over at LA Galaxy. And I mean,
he's a Liverpool fan as well.
Absolutely.
Sorry to interrupt, guys. I'm just seeing a notification pop up, and it's off my brother, Barry. And going on, that thing you said before, John, about finding Pogba. He's put Rooney, Ibrahimovic, and Pogba. Rest in peace. Fucking Man United.
Yeah, but I think Robbie Keane at the time that wasn't a Rafa Benitez purchase, and I think that was one of the reasons. I think that was a Rafa kind of kicking up that he didn't want. It's not. I wouldn't say that he didn't want Keane, but he didn't. It wasn't the type of player he was after, and I think Robbie Keane got a bad rap, And in saying that, he handled the situation with dignity. He has never once badmouthed Liverpool or never discussed it in the media. Do you know what I mean? He moved on, got on with his career, and I thought he handled it absolutely impeccably.
I'm getting the look. I'm going to have to go, boys. I'm getting the look.
You're getting a
She's
look?
She's like, you only said 20 minutes.
Hello, Mrs. Meg.
Okay. Sean, she's got womanly problems at the moment, mate.
Fair enough.
All right, John, you going to cut me off, mate, yeah?
No, you hang up, Martin.
All right,
good night. Good night to Mrs. Mason as well.
Good night.
All right, cheers. You're still with me, Sean?
I'm always with you, John. Yeah. Always with you. I'm just after getting a challenge there from Andy Burgess there about 1 minute ago. Sean, I bet you €20 you can't stop swearing for 10 minutes.
Right. So, counter starts.
Right now, I'll be taking those €20 off you, Andy. No
okay,
bother.
We're now at 1 hour and 8 minutes, so we'll see if we can get to 1 hour 18 minutes without you swearing. Okay. And I'm going to gauge as much as I can as well. Just while we're on the subject of Mario Balotelli, he scored 2 on his debut for Nice the other night against Marseille, when they beat Marseille 3-2. He scored a penalty after 7 minutes, and then he had a headed equaliser on 78 minutes to level the game at 2-2.
Did he take the penalty off the captain?
I didn't see. I saw the replay for the penalty. I didn't see what happened before. He wouldn't be an El Hadj Diouf if he didn't do that either, because he did the same thing with who was it? Some of the young Liverpool players that was supposed to take a penalty, and he took the ball out of his hand and took it. But anyways, we're talking about Mario Balotelli. I didn't see whether or not he took the ball. He basically took the penalty and scored it, but I think it was more a confidence builder than anything else. And the headed equaliser. Just some of the stats. He had 7 shots on target. He had 2 crosses, and he created 1 chance. So I didn't see the full game, so I can't really comment on what he was like during the game. I'm sure he was lazy for probably 75 minutes of it. But he commented before the game. He was speaking to Canal Plus, which is a French TV station. He said, "I joined Liverpool. It was the worst mistake of my life. Apart from the fans who were fantastic with me, I must be honest, and the players, who I had a good rapport with, I didn't like the club. I had 2 coaches, Brendan Rodgers and Jurgen Klopp. As people, they didn't make a good impression on me. I didn't get along with them. Like, I'm sorry, but you know, basically they're your employer, and you do your utmost to get on and impress them and try and please them." I thought his attitude was atrocious, you know. And
well, how many managers has he not gone on with? I think he, you know, there comes a time in everybody's life when if you are constantly in arguments with people, and believe me, I've had to look at myself a couple of times. I wouldn't say I'm the Mario Balotelli of Facebook or social media, but I would be vocal. Close. But But I'll tell you, the guy's got a bad attitude, and I think he should really just put Liverpool behind him as we have put him behind us.
Yeah, exactly.
I think he should just get on with it. I don't think Nice or Nice or whatever the hell they're called is really going to appreciate the fact that he's going on about his former club. I think he should really focus on making this work, because the guy's running out he's running out of options. I mean, there were clubs that didn't want him, that wouldn't take him if you paid them, and I mean, that says an awful lot for someone that plays in the position that he does and has the talent that he does and is the age that he is. You know, we could go on about, like, you know, he donates to charity, or that he you know, he's had a bad childhood and whatever, and that's all well and good. We can talk about that till the cows come home. It's not going to make a difference. You got to just clean up your attitude. I've seen people in far worse situations and positions in life that have a fantastic attitude.
Yeah.
Because it makes them. Mario Balotelli walks around with, you know, why me and all.
Yes,
this
exactly.
He should really just look at the sport he's in. It's a team effort. He has such a bad attitude towards training, towards football, dictating to what he can and can't do, or what he can contribute to the game. You know, him taking the penalty off Henderson, you know, I thought that showed. I think it showed up Henderson, and it certainly showed up Balotelli.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah. But I think that was kind of early in Henderson's captaincy. It was weak on his behalf. He should have held his ground and said no, you know. But like, if you look at him in contrast to Christian Benteke, who left the club because he didn't fit into the style, you know, another man that conducted himself with complete dignity, and he was completely honest about it and said that he didn't fit the plan, he didn't fit the ethos of the way Klopp wanted to play, and he was very appreciative of his time at Liverpool. So, you know, you have two sides to the coin there. You have the bad guy and you have the good guy. So, but I just thought it was worth a mention that, you know, he had scored two, when he's only scored one for us, you know.
Yeah, no, I think, you know, he just needs to cool it. Andy Burgess is trying to get me to curse here.
I'm just watching that, yeah.
He said, Sean, I heard on Facebook that FSG want to offer you a job and you've agreed as their PR consultant. Any truth to that rumour?
He's also saying, and you're a Man U supporter in limbo. Martin says you're a Galaxy fan. And he said you sell ladies' toys at the weekend. This is going on and on and on. He's just goading you here, just trying to get you to swear. So, official time on that is you have 5 minutes left before you can swear again.
Well, what I will say is to whoever said that I was a ladies' toy at the weekend, or I sell ladies' toy at the weekend, I'm more off a ladies' toy at the weekend. So let's just leave it at that then.
Fair enough. Okay, now what I want to discuss as well is this another former Liverpool player. And it was something that I spotted something that he said the week before last, and then he made another comment this week. So I kind of put the two together just to kind of throw in an argument about it. I'm not a big fan of Michael Owen, and you know, the fact that he's a Liverpool ambassador, I think he's a poor choice.
Yeah.
As a Liverpool ambassador, I think he's certainly contentious among the fans. In his appointment. Basically, the reason I brought it up is Owen's comments on BT Sports coverage of Liverpool v Leicester, when he referred to Liverpool as they, but yet he was discussing Man United during the week and he referred to them as we. So, you know, for a man who's supposed to be a Liverpool ambassador, why is he not discussing Liverpool as we? Do you know? He obviously has more affiliation, and you know, maybe he didn't realise it. That what he had said, because he tends to make stupid comments. He also said the night of the Leicester game that Sturridge opened up his legs and let rip. So he said that live on air. You know, so I wouldn't say there's a lot going on between the ears. You know, but I just thought it was worth pointing out that Michael Owen had actually referred to Liverpool as they. You know.
You see, I remember Michael Owen when he was a player and he played for Liverpool, as we all know, and he was a hero of mine. I mean, he was a great player, himself and Fowler, and I think it's an awful shame, the decisions that he made in his career that has kind of ruined everything.
Yeah.
His legacy at the club. I think he had a perfect opportunity there as ambassador of LFC to kind of make a difference. But I think the guy shouldn't be given any talk time or any, because he just literally walks himself into it.
He does.
I saw that he had mentioned on Twitter about his decision to go to United, and that he had asked several times, could he go to Liverpool? Could he go to Liverpool? Listen, I don't care. I really don't care about that. You chose to go to Man United, and there's really a point of no return there once you do that.
Exactly.
It's very, very hard to forget that, and I think, I don't know. I mean, it's all right him playing for Newcastle. That's one thing, but going to United is another thing.
Andy is going all out now here. He's loading both barrels.
What's he doing?
He said FSG are the best owners we've ever had. FSG, we come to pay. Love the Yanks, I do. Martin said we all love FSG. Andy, are you Welsh now? And Andy said Irish fans should be banned. And then he says, for feck's sake, tried me best. So, yeah. We still have time. There's another minute left yet. So, but
is that all I have? A minute left?
You have a minute left. Yeah, it's we're 1 hour 17 into the show. So, but what annoyed me, and I think what got in most people's back up when he left, was how he left. He left on deadline day. Basically left no time to get in a replacement. You know, so. And then the fact that he moved to Man United, obviously, to warm up their injury table while he was there, you know.
Yeah.
So Andy is telling us that he loves us both. I think you've about another 20 seconds, Sean, and then you can use whatever expletive you want. But that's. I was going to move on to discuss what you think of the game Tuesday night. What do you think? Do you think will we go with our strong 11, or do you think will we play some of the fringe players?
That's a difficult one. I mean, I don't know. I think your man Stewart might get a game. Who's that fella that was on the bench?
Gruitch.
No, well, Gruitch.
Ajaria.
Yeah, he might get one as well.
I could see him getting a game too. I have a funny feeling that Moreno is going to play. I think he's going to give Milner a rest.
Yeah, I think that would be wise. I mean, the guy's getting on, So
yeah. Well, I can see Karius playing in goal. I think Matip is going to play in the centre of defence, and I'd say Lucas might come in defence again. With Moreno at left back, I don't know who he's going to bring in at right back. I have a feeling that Wijnaldum will be dropped. I think Gruitch will come in for Wijnaldum, and I think Stewart might come in as a defensive mid. Origi, I think, could get a start, or Origi. So my impression I think that we'd put out our second string, our fringe players against Derby. That game is on Tuesday night. It's an away game, and it's on quarter date. I'm not sure what station it's on. But yeah, and hopefully we can get a victory there and move on. Next game is Hull, I think.
I think so. Yeah. Is my time up, by the way?
Your time was up a minute ago. You actually were a very good boy, and you went beyond it.
Thank fucking Jesus for that. Andy, you owe me €20. Get your PayPal account ready.
Yeah, Martin said that, Andy, you're now Sean's bitch. Andy's saying he wants a translator. Did you not understand any of that, Andy?
No, he says. He keeps on saying tink, T-I-N-K.
Anyways, that's all we have to discuss for this show. I'd like to thank everybody for listening. I want to thank all the guys for all the help they've given in trying to get this podcast up and running over the last week. It's a monumental effort by everybody to do what all that we did in a week. Apologies for the lack of sound at the very beginning. I think we might have had an issue for 5 or 10 seconds, but we didn't have any hiccups since. So I want to thank Andy, and I want to thank Justin, and I want to thank Stephen and Martin for coming on the show. And hopefully we'll get Stephen on at some point. He did make a comment there earlier on saying he'd love to come on the show, but he doesn't think we'd have to censor him if he came on. That's one thing we wouldn't do, Stephen, is we won't censor anybody. You say your opinion, and we respect that. Basically, I just want to thank everybody for tuning in, for listening. And I want to ask people that if they are listening on Spreaker, that they hit that follow button, and then you'll be notified of our future podcasts. You can sign up for an account with Spreaker. It's free. You can use your Facebook login, your Twitter login, or your Google Plus, or you can sign up with your email. It costs nothing, and that then enables you to get yourself involved in the chat. I want to ask everybody to give us a follow on facebook.com/Talk LFC podcast, and also give us a follow on twitter.com/Talk LFC podcast. And if you want to send in any comments or questions for our next podcast, which will be next Sunday evening, we've yet to decide the time on it, you can send in your email to talklfcpodcast@gmail.com. Also, if you'd like to advertise on the show, you can send us an email at talklfcpodcast@gmail.com, and we'll send you on a press pack. We'll send you on a podcast. So that's pretty much it for the first show. Sean, thanks a million for coming on and not having me talking to myself for the first evening.
You're okay, John. I like talking to you, you know.
And hopefully, Sean, you'll be back on. I think you're talking about coming back on again, because your input, as always, is extremely valuable and much appreciated. We're hoping that maybe we'll get some Paul Cantwell we mentioned earlier on, and maybe somebody on from the Anfield Rap, and hopefully somebody on from SOS as well. Andy Burgess has agreed to come on in a couple of weeks' time to discuss Red Road to Anfield and basically the background behind that. So that's pretty much it. We're going to leave it at that, guys. And thanks everybody for listening. Be sure to give us a follow on our social media. Good night, everybody.